What if I told you that in today's world, universities look at student athletes a little bit different than they do the regular academic student? Would you believe if I told you that special considerations and waivers regarding academic standards are allotted to student athletes to attend a specific university or school over those more qualified candidates that aren't student athletes? So it is pretty concerning, and I understand if you don't believe me. So let's dive into it and let's take a look at the bigger picture and dig a little deeper. So again, the truth is, if you look at the big picture and overall, universities do shield their athletes. So, and they do provide them waivers, and they do hold them less accountable than the typical academic student. So, the tip of the iceberg back in 2012, I want to share something with you. The former governor of North Carolina, Jim Martin, he actually commissioned a formal investigation to be conducted for the University of North Carolina because of academic fraud. Now, what does that mean? That means that there was a somebody who basically told on the university, what they call a whistleblower, another word for a tattletale, said that, and actually this whistleblower was actually a counselor for the academic program. Now, during this whistleblower, it was brought to light that University of North Carolina was not living up to the expectations and guidelines that for their students, and they were basically pushing them through and just allowing the students to be athletes and not really take part in the academic program. So what does that mean? So if you look at this slide, this is an actual PowerPoint slide that was taken from this counselor's presentation that was given to the members of the coaching team, how they can relieve the student athletes from their academic responsibilities. If you look at this, I highlighted one point. So if you look at it, they didn't have to pay attention or necessarily engage with the material. To me, that's pretty concerning, and it pretty much sums up how student athletes are not held accountable to regular academic standards that regular students. So why is this tolerated and gone unchecked? Well, it's simple. It's all about the money. It's always been about the money as far as, these universities. If you look at this slide, I put five universities to show what revenue they make from college athletics, from student athletics, and this is staggering numbers. So this is obviously why that they shield their student athletes and try and hold them less accountable in many ways. So again, it is concerning. They look at student athletes more like a revenue builder than anything. They make sure that these student athletes remain eligible, remain on the team, and continue to produce for that team and market that team and make sure that the money flow is consistent. Now, again, it's hard to take a look at this and not be really concerned. So, to be clear, no one is saying that these schools aren't supposed to be profitable, but to what cost? So again, going through this, the short answer is at what cost? It's the academic students. So if you look at overall, most of these athletic programs directly assess the student body as a whole. So most of these large academic schools have some type of athletic program, and it's unfortunate that that is directly, passed on to the student body as a whole. So if you look at the tuition of Division One state schools, they've increased exponentially, and is mainly due to their athletic budgets. So is it fair? Well, there's two sides to every coin, and it's one thing that it's hard to solve because again, the student athletes make money for the college, and the college gets money from the athletic program, and they put it back into the school and make the school better. But that being said, the student athletes aren't held accountable for that, and it directly reflects upon the GPA of the student athletes, which when they come out of school, they aren't as ready as a typical academic student who has to succeed in their academic program for any given coursework. So again, and also student athletes cost significantly more money. They cost significantly more money, up to 7 times as much as an academic student. So again, what is the result? Well, the proof is in the pudding. If you look at this graph right here, this is the GPA for non-athletes and athletes. And if you look at males and females and recruited and non-recruited, the GPA is higher for the non-athletes than it is the athletes. Now, unfortunately, going back to the North Carolina slide, this could be skewed because of possible tampering and hindrance of the actual data and metrics in place. Now, due to the academic waivers and leniency, these students denied admission to make room for student athletes with lesser academic achievements. Now, again, why is that possible, and why aren't they held accountable? It goes back to the money issue. So, and it's all about, look, a lot about manipulation of the academic performance to show that the school is actually, their student athletes are performing. Now, the UNC issue was the tip of the iceberg. It wasn't something that hasn't been going on. It's been going on for a long time. So again, what do we do from here? What is the resolution? Well, I can tell you it begins with the student. So, if you look at a student athlete, and I can speak from experience because I was a student athlete, and I do want to share that. And I went through this. It begins with the mindset of the student. So what can we do to change that mindset? Well, if you look at this is a tweet from Cardell Jones, who is a prominent Division I football player. He summed it up. It's why should he go to class when he's there to play football? That's been instilled to him by the university. So when they recruit you, they tell you, like, you're here to play football and we'll take care of everything else. So then he's not being held accountable. He doesn't get that mentality from just going to school. He doesn't want to learn. He wants to go there to play sports. So again, and then what happens is that is consistent with the whole team. So the whole team has that mentality that it's sports first, school second. And again, how do you fix that? How do you go and fix that? Well, it begins with the student, obviously, and you need to, if there's any parents listening or anybody who wants to have children in the future, you need to instill the value of an education early in life. You need to make sure that your children want to have an education. So it should be, the mentality should switch from student first, education first, and then sports second. If you do that, then you go into the secondary program. So again, which is the university. As you can see from the Villanova stats, they show academic success. Is this skewed? I don't know. I don't know if they manipulate the data to make it more favorable. That could be. But again, it is possible for a university to instill the school first, sports second mentality. So there's been a few things proposed to make sure that this doesn't continue in the future, and student athletes are held accountable. So again, rankings for football. What if we were able to propose that graduation rates are held as far as a school's ranking when it comes to bowls? So again, there's all kinds of things that we can do better to make sure that there's accountability for these student athletes, to make sure that they're successful, and when they come out of these universities, they have the necessary skill set to be in their field of choice, to be successful and have the knowledge from their education to make sure that they continue to succeed. Again, this is a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. Nothing in this world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain, difficulty. I have never in my life envied a human being who led an easy life. I have envied a great many people who led difficult lives. So what does that mean? That means that it finishes with consistency and hard work. So you need to instill the behavior in kids, that education first, school, in sports second, and then it continues to the university to continue that ethic. And nothing in this world is easy that's worth having, especially with an education. So I want to thank everybody for listening. These are my cited materials. So again, I hope you enjoyed it, and that's about it. Thank you very much.